Two experts in ICF. Decades of experience. One podcast. Two hosts with a lot to say.
Look, I cannot sit through a struggle. I gotta get up and hustle. I gotta push through the pain, because really that's how you build muscle.
Welcome to the Build with ICF podcast with your hosts, Trevor Brown and Heather Herring Brown. Yep, they're a package deal. With over 20 years of ICF installation experience, Trevor can throw down some expertise on sales, marketing, and training. On the other side of the table sits Heather, aka the girl boss, and she's earned the title as the owner of an award-winning ICF construction company, a drafting and design company specializing in ICF. And the numbers? With a master's in accounting, she does that too. Sleeves up, boots on. This is the Build with ICF podcast.
I don't want nothing for free. I'm here to work. I've been through the dirt. I've been through the dirt, yeah.
Welcome back.
Episode 11.
We're back in the studio.
Yep, we are back from World of Concrete. So we get a couple episodes where we were getting to do it right from the sales floor there at the World of Concrete in Las Vegas. Super cool. First time we'd ever done something remote. It was a interesting process. I was very curious to hear the audio, and I got to download it after and hear, and I was very impressed with give a little plug to our Rodecaster Pro 2. If anyone's looking for a cool podcast board, it did an amazing job of taking out all the sound and stuff. So super awesome. But back in the studio now, and we've got the second of the ICF block manufacturers coming on.
Yeah.
So everybody's been hitting us up for this. This has been huge. Okay, when are you going to get this block? When are you going to get this block? BuildBlock has come up multiple times by people saying, oh, you're going to have BuildBlock on, right? You're going to have BuildBlock on, right? So luckily at World of Concrete, we ran into Micah and we tricked him somehow into being on the podcast with us. And so we've got Micah Garrett with BuildBlock on here with us. How you doing, Micah?
Doing great, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
We're super stoked because, like I said, there's big players in the game, and you guys are obviously one of them that have just been killing it. And so it's exciting to get you on here and be able to have people that can hear exactly what they need to know about your product. So do us a favor and kind of start us off with a little bit about you. How did you get into the business? A little bit of how you started in the business, and a little bit of the background of BuildBlock and how they started. And then we'll start getting it dialed in and more specific later.
Sounds good. Yeah. And first of all, I'm digging that intro vibe. It definitely helps bring a little bit of a young feeling to the industry, which is great. And being a young guy myself coming into this industry, I've been in the industry for about 5 years now, and I took over the position, the Chief Operating Officer here at BuildBlock Building Systems. So that has been my role for the last couple of years, helping to lead this company. And a little bit of the history here. I also come into this with this being a family-owned and operated business as well. And so I had the opportunity to kind of step in after my dad and take on the reins with another one of my business partners. And we've been having a lot of fun trying to grow this thing and keep pushing the envelope forward.
Oh, I was going to say we're both fighting. I heard you breathe. So tell us a little bit, go back on the history of BuildBlock a little bit. How old are you guys and kind of how you guys got into this industry, or how your dad got into the industry? And it's just interesting because everybody kind of has a different story of like why, or they saw another block and they thought they could do it better, or there's like they thought they saw this happening and thought that this was the new wave. And as somebody who's been in it for over 20 years, I thought the first day I saw this is going to be the biggest thing ever next year, and it's been a slow ride, but we've just seen such an increase here in the last few years. It's just been awesome. But tell us a little bit, how old is BuildBlock and kind of how did your dad get into this industry?
Yeah. So, BuildBlock it was founded in 2004. So this year actually is going to mark our 20th anniversary this year.
Big party.
And so that's something we're really excited about, and having been in the game for a little while here. And so, BuildBlock in many, many ways was founded around the time that several other big players kind of came into the marketplace as well. And we, in many ways, kind of came into the industry kind of with the mindset of trying to create a product that was really user-friendly. And so that's kind of our spot where, the product was developed to try to be one of the most installer-friendly products in the marketplace. And at the end of the day, BuildBlock's been a great vehicle and a great product to showcase and have out in the industry today. But that's really where we got started about 20 years ago now.
Wow, sounds like you guys are due for a big party then. We're gonna have to have a big BuildBlock party. But I give you guys that credit because it is an easy block to use. We've been using it for years. Like I said, we've told everybody there's multiple block brands that we carry and use on a regular basis, and BuildBlock's one of them. So it's been a block that we enjoy using. I think it's this, like I said, the ease of use is makes a lot of sense. And the nice thing is I've told a lot of people with any industry or any product is that coming in kind of behind some of these guys. I mean, it's debatable. I've heard guys try to tell me they've been around for 50 years. I think it's legitimately probably 30 something years where ICF's been kind of the way we see it now. And it gives you so much advantage when you can come in with some of the bigger players came in that 20 years ago time frame because they kind of watched the other guys make some mistakes over the first 10 years, and then they were able, and especially guys that, I don't know if your dad did like installing or any of that stuff with other block to kind of get used to the block, but like you get used to it and you're like, God, if it just had this, it'd be a little easier. If it just had that, that's a great position to be in for any company or any product, is to be able to make tweaks to things and, make things better. So, I mean, that makes a lot of sense with how BuildBlock would do that.
Yeah. And there's always been a learning process there. Right. And so, that's part of any new product coming into the marketplace is it does have that opportunity to learn from past products. And, within the industry at large, there were a lot of companies that helped, get the industry started. You talk about the Poly Steels of the day, the Arxes, several of the, Blue Max, and several other iterations of products that are no longer with us today. There was a lot of opportunity to learn from early successes with those brands and definitely pick up on how we could improve them and really help the industry continue to move forward. And I think what we have today in many ways is a lot of really great products in the marketplace that help solve some of those challenges. And it's really helped move the industry to a place where we have stuff that's vetted, that's proven, and we can showcase that good stuff can be built in the industry with ICFs.
Oh, I was gonna say, where was BuildBlock founded? Are you guys a Canadian company or are you an American company?
No, BuildBlock's actually a US-based company. We are located in Oklahoma City, is where the company was founded. And so that's where the base of operations kind of got started. And we took a basic model at that point in time, which several brands had been doing, and were able to get manufacturing established in many different markets around the US. And so we came out of the gate when BuildBlock got founded, and we're manufacturing in about 4 or 5 locations right off the bat.
Oh, nice. What other products do you guys offer through, or other products do you guys make through BuildBlock?
Yeah. So, BuildBlock has a couple of different things. What we try to do for our contractor base is provide a lot of solutions and try to make sure that we have products to solve specific challenges that, any builder might face in trying to get an ICF job done. So at the end of the day, we have our core product line, the BuildBlock product line, which is our standard fully assembled block that comes in 4 inches, 6 inch, and 8 inch increments. And we make our straights, our corners. We also have some other product lines like our BuildBuck, which is our bucking system. It's a fully foam bucking system as well. And we have a decking product. We make radius forms. We have our KD and knockdown product line. So we have several different things that we try to bring to solve challenges and allow contractors to build projects. And then at the same time, we also sell a bunch of accessory products as well to help support those builds.
So it might be a shorter podcast if we ask you what you guys don't make. Is that what you're telling us? You guys do. I will give you kudos. I mean, obviously, we kind of lead you that. We've obviously seen the products and seen the website. You guys have some of the best website. I don't know who does your web stuff, but they do a great job. Your website's very self-explanatory, very user-friendly. It's something that I've led people there a lot of times, even if they're using other blocks. I've actually said, hey, go check out the BuildBlock site or the BuildBlock YouTube channel. You guys do a very good job of being user-friendly. So it makes a lot of sense when I hear you talk about, trying to do things to cater to your contractors, because it's very obvious in the way you guys put your stuff together in your marketing materials and stuff that it's very self-explanatory.
Yeah, and I have to give the kudos out to my business partner, Brian Corder, who is also our CEO. He was really the man that helped get a lot of those types of things accomplished. And so he was the original one who built our website and kind of led the way when it came to creating installer training series and other programs like that. So big shout out to Brian on that front.
He did awesome, because it's definitely one of the best in the industry as far as marketing materials go. And and that's the biggest thing, and that's why we're doing this podcast, is try to get people more educated about all the aspects of ICF, and how to install it and what different products are available and when to use those products and stuff like that. So I think it's really crucial we all work together on that.
And it's crucial for the growth and development of the industry, right? And so we've always seen that as one of the key marketing channels for us too, is that education is a really crucial thing to be able to help the ICF industry grow and develop. And so that's why that's been a lot of our background in our marketing materials and training resources throughout the years. And, we've always tried to kind of pride ourselves on the fact that someone, who is unfamiliar with the industry could come in and learn things and could kind of get their feet under the ground and get projects started. So we've tried to make that process as easy as possible.
Well, and even from a standpoint of, getting started with your plans, you guys have a huge section on your website of drawings and specifications and different things to help us as we're drawing those plans.
Yeah. And we just this last year, we did a big kind of refit on all of our CAD details as well. So my team has been working really hard to go back in and redo a bunch of our CAD details. I think we have close to 300 details that are now published up on our website. And, the goal is to be able to make that stuff accessible to architects and to home designers. So that way, when it comes time to design a project, they've got the tools, they got some resources to help get that stuff done. So, and it's all free, it's public. Go download it, and it's there for your use.
It definitely helps. I mean, as far as sales go, I mean, you go in there and you get something spec'd with your picture of your block on that plan. You've increased your chances tenfold they're going to use that block. So I mean, it's a super smart idea, just industry wide, to make that accessible to everybody, because the easier it is for those guys to draw the plan, the better it's going to be. So on another note, what's the breakdown of BuildBlock, you think, from a marketing standpoint, or even from a customer standpoint? Do you guys see yourself as more of a residential push? Or are you guys more in the commercial, going in the commercial market? There's, every brand seems to have their kind of niche that they really try to focus on. I mean, we all want it all, but realistically, like where do you see BuildBlock's best fit? Do you have a strategy of what you guys market to as far as that goes?
Yeah, generally speaking, I would say that BuildBlock has been primarily a residential brand for many, many years. That's really been the core focus of what we've tried to go do. But at the same time, we try to be a company that can help out in lots of different ways. And so, while we are a little bit more on the residential side of the equation, we've built some really great commercial projects throughout the years. We've tried to play in a lot of different spaces. But at the end of the day, a lot of times, we can help customers and clients go build their first projects and to get stuff done and build their forever home, or what it's looking forward to. We try to be the brand that's there to help and try to help get that stuff done.
Awesome. That kind of leads us into, we've got 3 questions that we ask all of our guests when they come on the show, and we're going to change up the order just a little bit, because we had a little conversation before we turned the microphones on. And so we wanted to change up the order. And so the first question I'm going to ask you today is something memorable that has happened with BuildBlock and in your experience with BuildBlock.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I was kind of going back to was just when I originally got started with BuildBlock. It was around the same time that my dad was kind of looking to transition out of the business at that point in time. And I had the opportunity to go build my first ICF home. And, the funny thing is you would think that coming into the industry, having a father who is, embedded, one extremely knowledgeable people out there, like his son should know what the heck he's doing, right? And he should probably have been taught how to go build with ICFs. Well, me being headstrong at that point in time, I'm going to go build my first home. And I built other projects. I'd worked as a construction superintendent previously. So, I've been around the industry my entire life, but having actually gone and done it myself, I swear I made every mistake in the book. So, the stuff that you just don't know ahead of time, like, how to make sure all your webs are lining up properly, where to put common seams, how to cut your windows in, those types of basic types of stuff, sometimes you learn on that first job that you do. And so it was definitely a massive learning curve for me, but it was a great experience at the same time, because one of the best ways that you can learn is by going and messing something up. So, I always thought that was kind of a funny thing, going and doing my first house and trying to live up to, fitting in these big shoes. But at the same time, you got to go earn your stripes sometimes. So that's just how it works.
Way more than somebody that didn't go do that. Trust me. There's no better way than just the frustration. And all of us that have been installers have stood in the mud on a job site with our hands on our head, our head in our hands, and just going, I'll never do this again. I'm never going to make that mistake again. I won't do that again. And it's honestly, it's the way it goes. I mean, I tell people all the time when we're doing the training classes and different things for like special DIY guys and stuff, we'll go, do you understand? Like, you're literally going to be an expert at the end of your first job. Like, you will make so many mistakes and do so many things the wrong way that you'll just get better. We're trying to eliminate that in these training classes, but there's just there's no anything that's actually going to help better than doing it yourself and screwing it up. Like, you screw it up. Yeah. There's no substitute for a mistake to learn from.
Yeah. There's no better way to learn than just getting out there and getting your hands dirty sometimes. And it's just kind of how that process works. And at the same time, I always tell people that ICFs are accessible to that first time person. So, like, don't be afraid. Yeah. Like, you should go out and you should try it. If you have the skills, if you have some basic construction knowledge, whether that's carpentry or masonry or concrete, those are all transferable things. And so at the same time, don't be afraid of it, because this isn't rocket science. But at the same time, there's a lot of stuff that you're going to learn through that process that the next time you come to that job, you're going to do it so much better. You're going to change a little way of how you put something together, and it just gets faster. It gets easier. You get more efficient. And that's how you also will make more money if you're installing in the future. So I just tell people it is and can be a DIY friendly project, but definitely if you can take some time to learn some more about it, get out on a job site, touch it, feel it, experience it, it goes a long ways to pick up some of that knowledge.
Yeah, we have our drafting company. We even make our people from the drafting company, if they're drawing plans, go out and do an install so that they can understand why we put windows where we do, or why, do you understand if this window was drawn here, we'd have to cut the block, and right here we just slap a block in here and it's the right size, Yep. And so just being able to get their hands on it and feel it. It's interesting to watch even like our, these young girls that are in the drafting company come out and go, oh, that's why you guys say to do that. They're doing it and they're doing it correctly, but they don't understand till they get on there. And I feel that's the same way just on any install. And you'll teach I've taught 1,000 classes over the last 23 years.
Absolutely. And we've, the last couple of years, with the NRMCA's program, their Build with Strength with Habitat, mm-hmm. BuildBlock's had the opportunity to go participate in a lot of these builds across the country. So we saw it as an opportunity, as like, hey, sales team, it's time to get you a job site. Like, you need to go stack some block. Got a lot of my technical team, my marketing team, other people out there, experiencing it, because building that institutional knowledge of understanding even how stuff goes together only helps, improve their knowledge base so they can talk more effectively to customers. So we've made that investment, get people out there.
Yeah, sorry. That just goes to show too how simple it is. You take it to Habitat for Humanity, and, the people that are getting those homes, they're required to put in so many hours helping to construct that home. So, it really is DIY friendly. There's some technical things that you got to pay attention to. And we learned something new, I think, on every job. We find a different way to do something, some way that was a little more effective, or, something that we want to draw a little bit differently on our plans. So it's not that you're ever you're never going to learn anything new. There's constantly new things coming out on the market to make building with ICF more, I guess, easier to use,
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it's been fun being out on a lot of those job sites too, because you do get to take a brand new crew of Habitat, employees and volunteers, and in a week you've gone and gotten all the ICF walls done. I mean, we've done several projects where you're out there stacking for 2 days, and then you're pouring on that third or fourth day. And you're doing it all with volunteers. You just got one person who actually knows what they're doing, out there pointing and telling them what to do. But at the end of the day, you can take group of people that are totally inexperienced, have no experience with ICF at all, and by the end of it, you can still build a really nice project.
Yeah.
So the next question, I'm pivoting a little bit here. I kind of want you to give a 2-part to this question, but because I'm going to make it one quick. We usually say, hey, why BuildBlock? I actually want you, just because I think you have such a good grasp on the industry, and I know you and I run into each other all the time. You travel around all over the place. I've run into you in Washington D.C. I've run into you in Vegas. You guys are super active in the industry, and there still are people that listen to this podcast that have not totally made the decision to switch to ICF, let alone to which block. So because of your knowledge and stuff, I'd like you to answer question number 2 is why ICF? First of all, why do you think some way versus a stick frame? What do you think the biggest benefits are in your mind? Obviously, they've heard me say it because we've done a whole episode on it, but I want to hear it from you. And then after that, say, okay, now more specifically, why BuildBlock versus, the other blocks?
Yeah. I mean, to kind of frame that, I always say that any ICF house is better than no ICF house. Yeah, and so, great. I always start there. But, I think the ICF industry helps solve kind of two unique things. And it's not a perfect product for everything, but at the same time, we really can help out in some major ways. One, I think there's a large conversation going on in the background about how we need to build more resilient communities. We look at, different events that have points in time, whether that's wildfires, whether that's hurricanes, whether that's tornadoes, even seismic floods, different things like that, where there have just been massive instances of devastation that have occurred. And, you always look at the newscasts and things after a big hurricane, and the newscast always says, well, look, it's the concrete homes that held up.
Yeah.
And everyone says it every single time. And it's like, okay, well, maybe we should be thinking about how we build with more durable materials in general. So I talk about that being a lot as like a big solution out there. We can help when it comes to helping build more resilient structures. So I think that's the big number 1 for me, but we can also hit some number 2 as well.
Yeah. Well, great answer. Yeah. Go ahead. Hit a little number 2.
Yeah. And then on the other side of the equation, the energy efficiency side is also huge. When we talk about whatever your perspective might be on climate or anything of that nature, at the end of the day, if we can all build more energy efficient structures, 1, we can save some dollars in our pocketbooks, but 2, we can also have an impact on the world around us with how much energy we're consuming, and allows us to be and have homes and structures that are more energy efficient. ICFs help with that specific equation, and comparatively to how a lot of other structures are built, we can help provide some solutions that can really help out in that front as well. So when people are thinking about why ICF, I would encourage people to kind of consider that resiliency question, and also, the question mark on how can we build more energy efficiently.
Great answer. Now the real slam the door on why BuildBlock versus everybody. Obviously, there's other options out there. Why do you guys feel when you're put yourself in that booth at a trade show and there's everybody there at World of Concrete, and they're going booth to booth? What's the big selling point for BuildBlock for a customer?
Yeah, BuildBlock in many ways, like I described earlier, is somewhat of a premium product on the marketplace. The product was designed to solve some challenges that some other ICF systems may have experienced in the past. And so, jokingly, my dad would always talk about his first polysteel install that he ever did, and was a great product at that point in time, no longer around these days. Some people may be familiar with it, some may not, but he used to say he had 4 blowout kits for his first job. used every single one on that first job. And so, he learned quickly some tips and tricks, but at the end of the day, what he wanted to have happen with BuildBlock was that the first time that you do a job, you don't have any issues. And so that really came down to the fact of why, it's a 6-inch on center block. So we've got webs every 6 inches. It's one of the most durable webs in the marketplace as well. We've got some other features on our web, like our hard point that gives you some additional pull strength when it comes time to hang your cabinets or set your braces on your wall, those types of features. The interlock on our block is a little bit different than a lot of other blocks, but it's designed to be on a 1-inch repeating pattern. So you have a lot less waste in general. And because the amount of surface area in that, we typically don't have to use a lot of like clips or zip ties or things like that. So from an install perspective, it helps save a little bit of the labor. There's a tape measure on the block. There's lots of cut lines. There's features there that are really designed to just make it easier for an installer to use. So our goal really being is that if this is your first time to come use an ICF block, why don't you come have a great experience, install with a really durable block, and have a really good project at the end of the day. We're not going to be the cheapest block. So if that's what you're looking for, that might not be us in this instance. But at the same time, we're here to help, and we try to be a company that has heart, and we'll come try to help you, support you, and get that project done and get you some resources in your hands.
Great answer. And I agree with you. I can tell you as a user of the product, you nailed it. It's a great product to use, and you guys have some really, really great products. We love your window buck. That's one of the things that we use all the time is the Build Buck. It's one of our favorite products that we use on our jobs. So yeah, no, great answer.
All right. And then our final question, not that we won't have more after this, but our of the set questions that we always ask, what are you excited about moving forward in the ICF industry?
I think, there's lots of different things that I'm excited about. From my vantage point, it's been really exciting to see the growth in the industry the last couple of years. During the COVID era, when lumber prices were going through the roof there, I felt like everyone who had been on the sidelines for a while that was like considering, maybe we'll try ICF one day. Well, when prices went through the roof, everyone was calling. And it was like, okay, it's time for us to do an ICF project. And so I think at this point, what I've really seen is that the industry has finally gotten to a place where people are considering it as a really viable option in all kinds of different types of projects. So I continue to be bullish on ICFs in general, and the fact that there's, growth in the industry and things I feel like are moving in a more productive direction. I think we've all been sitting here waiting for that day when this was just going to blow up and no one would be able to keep up. I think we're trying to work towards that future of some real sustainable growth in the industry. Specifically for BuildBlock, we've got some cool stuff going on as well. We've seen a nice little uptick in ICF pools as a cool little niche in our specific industry. And I'd encourage, any of you ICF builders out there to definitely take a deeper look there, because I think there's some good opportunity. So at the same time, we've seen more and more pools getting built all over the country, and we've tried to take a unique perspective where we actually got involved with selling pool equipment. We've tried to kind of come in and actually vet some different products and give advice to builders on here's stuff that actually works with pools. So that way you're not starting from scratch, because everybody trying to figure this little thing out has been wondering, what skimmer actually works? How do I size my pump? What are other pool equipment pieces that go together? So what we've done this last year is actually kind of packaged up. We now have some pool kits, and we're going to be launching some additional plans this year that basically, what I'll say is get you about 80% of the way there. It gets you your blocks. It gets you a set of plans. It tells you the equipment that's going to work well in this setting. If you want to customize it, that's still up to you. If you want to make different, decisions on your finishes, that's perfectly fine. We have options for you. But at the end of the day, we've got something kind of mostly put together that's going to get you a long, long ways there. And so we're going to be targeting some pool builders with that and hoping that we continue to see some growth and development on that front.
That's exciting because I own a drafting company as well, and we get hit up more and more. It's crazy. I mean, this time of year, everybody's like, okay, do you draw ICF pools? And where do we get this stuff? And how do we do it? So that'll be nice to have a kit that you guys are going to be putting out.
Yeah. And definitely those plans and stuff are going to be more and more available. And so there's some options, especially for a distributor who's trying to get into this. Well, now they have something they can actually go sell that's already kind of pre-drawn, ready to rock and roll, and they can take it. And it aligns with our engineering as well. So we have a set of prescriptive engineering for those drawings are designed to kind of match up on that front.
And you guys, I mean, as someone's been in this a long time, you guys have basically been kind of the pioneers in that pool side of things. I mean, guys were kind of doing it one off, but you were the first manufacturer that I saw out there that really started putting out, publicly, like saying, hey, we do ICF pools. I mean, there were guys that saying, yeah, we sell ICFs, and I know some guys are building pools out of it. You guys were the first ones to like do a video about it, do, marketing around it and stuff like that. So you guys really have kind of, got yourselves out there as kind of the pioneers in that thing. And we actually had Vanessa on from the ICF Builder magazine was on episode 3 with us, and she was talking about the award show, and we actually mentioned the pool thing because I said, yeah, I remember when we first got into this business, and and I remember the first year they had like specialty was one of the categories, and there was like a couple pools popped into there, and everybody's like, oh, a pool, that's kind of cool. Now I can't remember what she said, how many hundreds of submissions for just the pool category they got now. So there's, it's just crazy how that's...
Pretty soon it's going to be small residential pool, medium-sized residential pool, hotel and Olympic pools.
It's it's something, and
on its own form.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I've got a buddy who builds pools, and he said, he's like, dude, I'm booked for 4 years. Like, I wish he even said, I hope more people get into the pool business because I can't keep up with all the business that's here. COVID did one thing for pools. I mean, it freaking launched those guys through the roof because everybody was wanting to, do their own thing at home and make their own vacations. And so people started getting pools installed. So it's something that's just going to get bigger and bigger. So I think that's great. Well, we did
I 100% agree.
We got to our half hour here. We did it. And everybody, we try to keep them somewhere around that 35 to 45 minute mark. So I always give you a chance to maybe close up with something. Is there anything that you think we missed that you'd like to talk about? Anything in closing?
No, I just give you guys props for getting this thing going and providing an opportunity to talk about the ICF industry at large. I think, it's folks like you that help show that this industry is growing and developing, and there's other opportunities coming up. And so thank you guys for taking some time to educate and help the industry get the word out.
Well, thank you. And we've said before, it means a lot when people, appreciate it because it's something that we're passionate about, and it's, it makes you feel better when you realize that there's other people that are just as passionate about it as you are. You kind of feel like a weirdo for a little bit if you think you're the only person that's really freaking out about ICF. And then we launch this podcast, and you just see the support we're getting and the love we're getting from people on our listeners and everybody. I mean, it's amazing. Every time these podcasts come out, boom, I get hit with just a ton of messages, saying that was cool, but can you do da 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 da? So means a lot. And I agree with you. And you've always been a great, person in the industry of bringing us all together. And I love that you brought up the fact that if not our ICF, just as long as it's ICF, because I've always lived by that. And you guys have definitely, you and your dad have always been open to talking and being, working together with other people in the ICF industry. You guys have been big supporters of the ICFMA and doing things there, and with the NRMCA. And I think it's so important that as an industry that we band together against stick frame or kindling or whatever you want to call it that they build those other houses out of. It's something that we have to do. And it's always great when we go to events and we go to trade shows and I get to see you, and you guys are always welcoming, and we really appreciate everything you're doing. I'm excited. You're actually, we've had the 2 companies on so far, yourself and Superform, both second generation companies with the sons coming in and taking over. I think that's awesome that we've got to that point, even in the industry where we're second gen. So that's really cool. And you're young and going to take this thing really, really far. So I'm really excited for you guys. It'll be fun to watch.
And we'll link it in our, in our podcast notes. But, oh my gosh, all of a sudden I couldn't talk. We will link it in our podcast notes, but how do they get a hold of you, Micah? What's the website and socials for BuildBlock?
Absolutely. So definitely go to buildblock.com. That's one of the best places. And we're active on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. So definitely check out some of our stuff. Just look up #BuildBlock, and you should be able to find some stuff about us. And yeah, you can. That's probably the best place to go look us up.
All right. Awesome. Well, as always, you can find us on all our socials. Everything is Build with ICF. Email us at info@buildwithicf.com. We love the questions. We're going to have to do a listener Q&A here pretty soon because we've been answering a lot of questions on the weekends and everything when we post. And there's some good questions coming in that, we've got an entire show or two already of questions from people. So
probably just going through listener questions, but it's and they're great, man. I mean, keep them coming. We love it. There's a reason why we're doing this, because we love doing it, and I don't mind sitting on the weekends and answering questions for people left and right, because the more we can give them information about this industry, the more they'll get into it, and we will have more resilient, energy efficient houses, like Micah said. So that's what we're looking for. So we appreciate it. Don't stop hitting us up. Always, reach out to us anytime you can. We're going to keep these things coming. I think we're going to be able to keep them, once a week right now, getting things out there. And if you have any ideas or anything that you want us to do, obviously send them to us, and we will do everything we can to line them up.
And then the last thing is, I want to thank those listeners that have been sharing our show and pushing it out to others, and, invite you to do the same.
Please. Yeah, that's the way we're going to grow this thing, is through everyone, putting this out. If you like the podcast, you think it's interesting, please put it up on your social media. It's amazing how many people, you may not think you have a ton of people, but just within your circle that may want to learn about ICF. And that's what we're here for. We want to grow the podcast. So please share the show and get it out to everybody. We really appreciate it. So lastly, Micah, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate you being on here and being so enthusiastic. Great interview and great answers, and I think a lot of great information for people. So thank you so much. We'll let you get back to slinging some block and making money, and we'll get this thing wrapped up and on the internet.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate the opportunity.